Section 1. The invisible chains. Most people walk through life carrying weights that were never meant to be theirs. They shoulder the pain of others, the expectations of society, the guilt of failed relationships, and the unspoken duty to solve problems that do not belong to them. Slowly, these invisible chains drag them down, but the Stoics warned us of this trap. Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." His point was clear. If you live for the approval and burdens of others, you will never live freely. Think about it. How much of your mental space is filled with problems that are not truly yours? A friend's drama, a co-worker's laziness, a family member's choices. The world has endless fires, and yet none of them are for you to extinguish. The Stoic sees this clearly. Your duty is to control yourself, to refine your own character, and to act only where your effort matters. Everything else is wasted energy. Carrying burdens that aren't yours is not compassion, it's self-destruction. The strong do not break under their own weight. They break when they drag weights that belong to someone else. And so the first step is awareness. Awareness that your suffering might not be your suffering, that your exhaustion might not be the result of your own failures, but of you carrying problems that were never yours to solve. This is where the Stoic begins, by seeing clearly what is theirs and what is not, and by cutting the ropes tied to the burdens they were never meant to carry. Section 2, Rule Circa 1. Know what belongs to you. The first Stoic rule to stop carrying burdens that aren't yours is simple, but not easy. Know what belongs to you. Marcus Aurelius in his Meditations wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is the foundation. You are responsible for your thoughts, your actions, your choices, nothing more." But here's the trap. Most people blur the line. They mistake someone else's failure for their own. They mistake someone else's emotions for their duty. They mistake someone else's irresponsibility for their responsibility. Let's break it down. Your co-worker misses a deadline. Is that your failure? No, your friend makes a reckless decision. Is that your responsibility to fix? No, your family member clings to self-destructive habits. Is it your burden to carry? No. Yes, you can care. Yes, you can help if asked. But there is a difference between support and ownership. The Stoic does not confuse the two. Dark psychology teaches us this. Manipulators thrive on making you believe their problems are your problems. They weaponize guilt. They offload their emotional baggage into your hands. If you don't see it clearly, you'll end up living a life of exhaustion, not purpose. The Stoic antidote is clarity. At every moment ask, is this within my control or is it theirs? If it is yours, handle it with strength. If it is theirs, release it without guilt. When you master this rule, you'll stop being pulled into every storm. You'll realize most of the burdens you've been carrying were never yours to begin with. This is the first freedom, knowing what belongs to you and what never will. Section 3. Rule number 2. The power of strategic detachment. The second Stoic rule is strategic detachment. Let me explain. Detachment is not coldness. It is not apathy. It is strength. It is the ability to step back from the fire and see things for what they truly are. Epictetus said, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them." What does this mean? It means most of our suffering doesn't come from the event itself, but from our attachment to it. When someone insults you, it's their voice, their bitterness, their problem. The insult only becomes pain when you grab it and carry it inside your heart. When someone fails you, it's their weakness, not your weight to bear. The suffering only multiplies when you replay it in your head, attaching meaning where none is required. Strategic detachment is this. to step back, observe, and choose not to carry the unnecessary. It's like watching a fire burn in the distance. You don't rush in blindly. You assess, you decide, you act, or you don't. That's control. Now here's where dark psychology comes in. Emotional manipulators hate detachment. They thrive when you're reactive. They want you entangled, tied up in their storms, feeling guilty for leaving, obligated to fix them. Detachment breaks their power. Why? Because once you see clearly that their chaos isn't your chaos, their control evaporates. Strategic detachment gives you the freedom to focus on what truly matters: your growth, your clarity, your purpose. You stop playing the role of savior in someone else's tragedy, and instead, you become the author of your own story. Remember this: caring does not mean carrying. You can love without losing yourself. You can help without being consumed. And sometimes, the most powerful act of love is to step back and let someone face their own fire. That is the Stoic way. That is the art of detachment. Section 4, rule number 3. Stop absorbing emotional contagion. The third Stoic rule is this: stop absorbing other people's emotions as if they were your own. Have you noticed how emotions spread like wildfire? Spend 10 minutes with someone who is angry and you feel on edge. Sit with someone who complains constantly and your mood sinks. This is called emotional contagion, and if you're not aware of it, you'll end up carrying the emotional baggage of everyone around you without even realizing it. Marcus Aurelius warned us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Notice he didn't say the thoughts of others, but your own. That is the Stoic shield. Here's the truth. Not every storm around you needs to become a storm within you. The dark psychology of manipulation thrives on this. Toxic people project their inner chaos, hoping you'll absorb it, hoping you'll carry it for them. Misery loves company, and the weak feed off your willingness to share in their pain. But a Stoic draws the line. You can listen without internalizing. You can witness without drowning. You can show compassion without wearing someone else's wounds. Think of it like this: you are a fortress. The world outside may be loud, violent, and unstable, but inside, your walls remain calm, unshaken, and deliberate. You choose what enters. You decide what energy you carry. This is not selfishness, it's survival. Because if you collapse under the weight of emotions that aren't yours, you become useless to yourself and to the people who truly need your strength. So the rule is simple: don't let someone else's storm steal your peace. Guard your inner world as fiercely as a king guards his kingdom. Section 5, rule number 4. Boundaries are not cruelty, they are clarity. The fourth Stoic rule is this: boundaries are not an act of cruelty, they are an act of clarity. Too many people feel guilty for saying no. They fear rejection, judgment, or being labeled selfish. But the Stoics understood something that most people miss. If you do not draw boundaries, the world will consume you. Epictetus put it bluntly: if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In other words, if people accuse you of being selfish for protecting your peace, let them. Their opinion is not your burden. Dark psychology tells us this. Manipulators thrive on blurred boundaries. They test how much they can take from you, your time, your energy, your attention, without giving anything in return. And if you never say enough, they never stop. But boundaries are not about pushing people away. They are about protecting what matters most. They are not walls of cruelty. They are gates of clarity. You're not shutting people out. You're making it clear what is allowed and what is not. Imagine your life as a sacred temple. Not everyone should be allowed to walk in with dirty shoes. Not everyone deserves front row access to your time and soul. You must be the guardian at the door, deciding who enters and on what terms. The Stoics believed that control begins with the self, and boundaries are self-control turned outward. They say, "This is my line. This is where I stop carrying what isn't mine." Here's the paradox. When you build strong boundaries, you create deeper respect in your relationships. People may resist at first, but over time, even those who love you will admire your strength, because you cannot be endlessly available and endlessly strong at the same time. So remember, boundaries are not cruelty, they are clarity. They are the mark of someone who knows their worth, who understands their limits, and who refuses to live under the weight of everyone else's chaos. Section 6, Rule number 5, the discipline of emotional detachment. The fifth Stoic rule is this: practice the discipline of emotional detachment. This doesn't mean becoming cold, heartless, or indifferent. It means refusing to let your emotions be hijacked by the storms of other people. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this, you have the power to revoke at any moment." Think about that. Most of your suffering doesn't come from events themselves. It comes from the way you interpret them. Someone insults you. Do you crumble? Or do you remind yourself, their words are a reflection of their own mind, not mine? This is where dark psychology gives us a warning. Manipulators use emotional triggers to control you. They play on your guilt, your fear, your anger. They want to see you react, because the moment you do, you've given them the steering wheel of your mind. The Stoic response? Detachment. Not by running away, but by staying rooted, by breathing slowly when provoked, by refusing to let someone else dictate whether you feel calm or chaotic. This is a skill. It requires training. And like all training, it begins with awareness. The next time you feel pulled into someone else's drama, stop. Ask yourself, is this mine to carry, or am I being pulled into a game I don't need to play? Emotional detachment is not about disengaging from life. It's about engaging with life on your terms. It's about protecting your inner fortress, ensuring that your peace is not up for negotiation. The strongest person in the room is not the loudest, not the angriest, not the most reactive. It's the one who feels everything, yet remains unmoved by what does not serve their higher purpose. So remember this Stoic law. You are not obligated to pick up every emotional flame thrown your way. Some fires are meant to burn out on their own. Section 7, rule number 6, stop trying to save everyone. The sixth Stoic rule is this: stop trying to save everyone. This is one of the hardest lessons for empathetic people to learn. You want to help, you want to fix, you want to rescue. But here's the dark truth. Not everyone wants to be saved, and not everyone deserves to be saved. Seneca once said, "The mind that is anxious about the future is miserable." In the same way, the mind that is anxious about the problems of everyone else becomes enslaved by them. There's a psychology trap here. Some people deliberately play the victim, knowing you'll rush in to save them. They thrive on your attention, on your energy, on your guilt. This is manipulation cloaked as helplessness. Stoicism tells us to separate what is within our control and what is not. And the reality is, another person's choices are not under your control. Their habits, their addictions, their failures, they belong to them, not you. If you spend your life dragging people who refuse to walk, you will end up crawling on your knees. You can point them toward the path, but you cannot walk it for them. This doesn't mean abandoning compassion. It means practicing wise compassion, the kind that offers help without self-destruction, the kind that says, "I will help you rise if you take the first step, but I will not carry you while you sink yourself." Remember this: when you spend all your strength trying to save those who don't want saving, you weaken yourself for the ones who truly need you, and for the battles that are actually yours to fight. So let this be your shield. You are not the savior of the world, and you are not obligated to rescue people from the consequences of their own choices. Section 8, Rule number 7, never let guilt be used against you. The seventh Stoic rule is this: never let guilt be used as a weapon against you. Here's the dark psychology of it. Manipulators know that guilt is one of the heaviest burdens a person can carry. It eats at you from the inside, whispering that you are never enough, never doing enough, never caring enough. And when you believe those whispers, you become easy to control. But Stoicism teaches us something vital. Your duty is to live with reason and virtue, not to live as a slave to guilt. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Notice what he did not say. He didn't say, if someone accuses you of not doing enough, bend to their will. He didn't say, if someone makes you feel bad, you must obey. Guilt becomes toxic when it's weaponized against you. People will say things like, after everything I've done for you, you can't even do this one thing. If you really cared, you'd sacrifice this for me. You're selfish if you don't help me right now. This is not love. This is control. And when you fall into this trap, you end up carrying burdens that belong to the manipulator, not you. Here is the Stoic way out. Examine guilt through reason. Ask yourself, am I truly in the wrong, or is this an attempt to control me? Am I failing my duty to virtue, or am I refusing to be enslaved by someone else's expectations? If the guilt is earned, if you've truly failed in virtue, then own it, correct it, and move forward. But if the guilt is imposed, if it's simply a chain someone else is trying to wrap around your neck, then break it and walk away. A mind weighed down by false guilt cannot live freely, and freedom is the essence of Stoicism. Freedom from the control of others, freedom from the tyranny of emotions, freedom from chains that are not yours to wear. So remember this: you do not owe your life to guilt. You owe your life to truth, to reason, and to your higher self. Section 9, Rule number 8. Protect your energy like it's gold. The 8th Stoic rule is this: protect your energy as if it were the most valuable resource you own, because it is. We live in a world where everyone wants a piece of you, your time, your attention, your emotions, your energy. If you give freely without discipline, you will soon find yourself empty, drained, and bitter. Here's the truth: energy is not infinite. Every thought you engage in, every argument you entertain, every problem you adopt that isn't yours, these things are thieves. And the Stoic knows that thieves must not be allowed into the house of the mind. Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Why? Because protecting your energy often means refusing to explain yourself, refusing to justify why you won't engage, refusing to defend your peace to people who are determined to disturb it. Dark psychology teaches us something unsettling. Energy vampires thrive on your attention. They don't always want solutions. They want your reaction. They want your emotional involvement. They want you hooked. If you give them what they want, you lose. Every sigh, every argument, every replay of their words in your head is a victory for them and a defeat for you. The Stoic strategy: withdraw, conserve, redirect your energy toward what truly matters: your growth, your character, your higher goals. Imagine your energy as gold coins. Would you hand them out freely to anyone who asked, no matter how wasteful or manipulative they were? Or would you guard them carefully, spending only where there is true value? Protecting your energy doesn't make you selfish, it makes you wise. Because when you guard your inner power, you have more to give to the causes and people that truly matter, and you stop being enslaved by those who feed off your weakness. So here is the rule: before you spend energy, ask yourself, is this a worthy investment, or is this a leak draining my soul? Your life depends on the answer. Section 10, Rule number 9, stop rescuing everyone. The 9th Stoic rule is this: Stop rescuing people who refuse to rescue themselves. This is one of the hardest truths to accept, especially if you are compassionate, empathetic, or naturally protective. But let me be clear, you are not responsible for saving everyone. Seneca once said, "The mind must be freed from the slavery of chance." And one of the greatest chains we put on ourselves is the constant compulsion to intervene in the struggles of others, especially when they've chosen those struggles. Dark psychology teaches us that some people do not want solutions. They want attention. They want a rescuer. They want someone to drag them out of their chaos so they can run right back into it. And if you play that role, you'll quickly discover that you are not helping them. You are enabling them. The Stoic knows the difference between supporting and saving. Supporting means offering guidance, wisdom, and encouragement when asked. Saving means sacrificing your own peace, your own energy, and sometimes even your future to pull someone out of a pit they have no desire to leave. Think about this. Every time you rescue someone who refuses to take responsibility, you are carrying a burden that isn't yours. You are doing their inner work for them. And here's the dark reality. They will never respect you for it. In fact, they will resent you, because deep down, they know you've exposed their weakness, and instead of gratitude, they feel shame. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. That means focusing on living your life well, not trying to drag others along. If they truly want to rise, they will. If not, they must live with the consequences of their choices. This doesn't mean you become cold or heartless. It means you become discerning. You must learn to recognize the difference between someone drowning and reaching for help, and someone who has chosen to live in the storm, enjoying the chaos, dragging down anyone who gets close. So here is the rule. Don't light yourself on. Fire to keep others warm. Don't drain your strength trying to rescue people committed to their own downfall. Your duty is to protect your soul. Their duty is to save themselves.